Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Ever since I bought this house, I've been struggling with finding the right term to describe it. Here on YouTube, I've just been calling it a house or a farmhouse. But whenever I meet someone in person and tell them about this project, I feel that when I use the term house, they automatically overestimate how much of a house it really is. So sometimes I just call it a barn or a ruin, but that doesn't really give a complete image either. Good thing that this is YouTube and you guys get to see the complete image. Anyway, the question that I want to pose is, when do you call something a ruin and at what point do you start calling it an actual house? Even though I still have a ton of work to do, I would say that I have already taken a number of extremely important steps on the way to being able to call it a house. Renewing the switch box and installing some basic sanitations have been making it a lot more habitable. In this video, I'm taking the next big step. I will be pouring a concrete floor in the barn. But before the actual pouring can take place, a lot of preparations need to be made. First up, as you've just seen me do, I needed to remove the large oak beam structure in the middle of the barn. When that was gone, next up were all of the big pebbles and stones and bits of concrete that used to function as flooring back in the days when there was livestock living here. Luckily, these piles of rubble come in handy leveling out the sloped backyard. The friends that you will see shortly help me work on the house stay over in the tent in that backyard, and I'd say the least I can do for them is try to make sure that they can set up their tent in a somewhat level spot. Nonetheless, leveling out a barn floor with an infinite amount of stones by hand is a tedious task. As you can imagine, I was happy to find a rock to express my frustrations on. The barn floor measures a total of 40 square meters, which is about 400 square feet. I decided to divide the floor into a total of 4 slabs that were to be poured one by one. With a total of 6.5 cubic meters of aggregate delivered and a shiny new orange concrete mixer, we were ready to start on the first slab. The whole team was ready and in position. Everyone had their task: topping up the buckets, tossing them in the mixer, adding the cement, wheelbarrowing the wet concrete into the form, and finally leveling it out nicely. However, unfortunately, it took a while before I found out that filling up the mixer up to its maximum capacity does not make it mix well. By the time we were up to speed doing half loads, the battery on the GoPro had already died. So that's where we jump a few days ahead in time, to the unmolding of the first of 4 slabs of concrete. Doesn't seem bad. Now I'm gonna have to adjust the doors because the concrete floor is gonna be 15 centimeters measuring from the floor, which is about here. I think that's perfect. Put one line here. Just notice how these doors do not have door frames. They do have hinges, the biggest ones you'll ever see probably. Really, this wooden bit that goes all the way up is a wooden hinge, and it's the same on the other side. And there's just a wooden piece that was installed when laying the stones. I think think you can see it better if I open the doors up. So there's no door frame. It's just the door sticking in these wooden parts. Oh, right here it's resting on the stone. There's some sort of a hinge solution. That's interesting. Oh, it's the same on this side. Piece of metal here that rotates, and I think they made a hole in the stone and they put in a pin or something that rotates. Cool. Enough about the doors for now, because there was still some leveling out to do before the second slab could be poured. With everything level, we could finally lay down the waterproof membrane for the second slab. As molding, I used strips of OSB fixed to a row of wooden stakes hammered into the ground, which actually worked fine. To hold the concrete together, we laid down a single layer of rebar. To keep that suspended from the ground, I had bought these unhandy small concrete blocks with bits of steel wire sticking out of them that had to be fixed individually to the mesh. With lessons learned, everything in place and a new team of friends that had just arrived, we made quick work of the 3 remaining slabs.